Okay, so in this video, I want to talk to you about treating yourself as well as you do others and as well as you do your business. This came from a good chat. I have some fantastic friends that we have created a nice container in our friendships where we have excused ourselves from talking about things like the weather and sports, and we really just get stuck into how are you actually, and how is business. And anyway, I was catching up with one of these friends and I was asking him about his business, and he was like, Jamie, do you know what? It's fantastic. I've taken a huge amount of pressure off my shoulders, and I'm really just starting to recognize that this is a long game. And we shared so many of the little philosophies that I talk about in these videos where, I'm going to take the pressure off my shoulders. I'm going to recognize it's a long game, not a short game. And I'm just going to keep focusing myself on making little improvements where I can and relax into the knowing that if I just do that, my ultimate success becomes an inevitability. So I loved all that. I thought it was, really good. And then we talked about, how negatively impacting putting too much pressure can be, and the stress that comes from that, the overwhelm, the bad decisions that get made when essentially we're rushing. And we talked all about how it's so nice to slow down, and that in actual fact, when we slow down, we really strengthen. We give ourselves more time to make better decisions. And this odd thing, but it's so true, that when we slow down, we actually start really speeding up. So, we had this great talk about business, and then I said, tell me, how are you? And he said, well, interesting, you know what, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling stretched, I'm feeling strained. And I said, he spoke for some time, and I said, it's kind of interesting. It feels like you're treating your business better than yourself. And there was this moment of silence for a little while. Those great moments in conversations where, to be fair, you're confronted with the truth, and there's a bit of speechlessness for a while. And the conversation was beautiful at that point. Essentially, he was like, you're right. Wow, you're right. Oh, this is all so obvious. And then went on this beautiful kind of flow of, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And I found the conversation really inspiring, and I wanted to share into it on this video because, to be honest, at the heart of my work, there's the belief that we all know what we need to do. It's just sometimes we're distracted, we're out of sorts, and we're disconnected. And the real work of a coach is not to come in as some authority that knows it all, but actually to help ask the right questions for people to look at things differently and sort their own problems out. And I'm conscious that, in you watching this, no one knows your business better than you. No one knows yourself better than you. No one knows your own self-care better than you. It's just oftentimes we can get distracted, not give ourselves the time that we should, and then not make the right decisions. Because we're perhaps stretched, we're out of sorts, we're out of priority. And I think the first thing to say that is really important is that if you're in business for yourself, you are your most valuable resource. You are your highest priority. And that's not just if you're in business for yourself, but if you've got a relationship, if you've got kids, they're all the more reason to prioritize yourself all the more. But sometimes life will have us think differently. Sometimes life will have us think that we need to put others ahead of ourselves. And perhaps at small moments that might be true, but in the long run, it's absolutely not. Because if you don't look after yourself, that will reflect itself in your relationship. It will reflect itself in your parenting. It will reflect itself socially. And of course, it reflects itself professionally speaking. So I think that in itself of realizing how important we are is hugely formative in terms of us reorientating ourselves and looking after ourselves better. Then it's actually the knowing that as much as we go outside of ourselves and subscribe to, what is it that the pros are doing, or what is it that somebody else is doing? In actual fact, if we take a little bit of time just to reflect on our own lives, we can see the patterns of when things played out to our advantage and when they didn't. And if we really look closely, we can see how to look after ourselves better. And that is so important. And what I loved in that phone call with my friend is that all it took is, I think you're prioritizing your business more than you are yourself. Don't forget to look after yourself. To have him essentially completely rewire himself. And in that moment, he said he literally got off the phone, jotted down 10 immediate things that he was going to do for himself. And a few days later, he was in a different world. And that's the next kind of key thing that I want to share with you, that we as individuals are so bloody powerful. And we think we might be in a challenging spot, or we think things might be on top of us, but please never underestimate how we can turn our circumstances around literally in a heartbeat. And that is as true in business, as it is in life, as it is in relationships. And so I really want to encourage you to subscribe to that belief, because I see it play out with my clients so often, where they can turn things around so quickly, almost magically. But the first part of that is that belief. And so I wanted to kind of share that point as a real knowing. So, take homes from this. Please recognize how important you are. And for whatever else you have going on in life, that is all the more reason to prioritize yourself. You have all the wisdom inside you, and perhaps that wisdom might be compartmentalized. You might think that your approaches to work are only for work, when in actual fact they will reflect they will show up really, really positively for yourself personally too, or in relationships. Or you might be really, really good at looking after your partner, but perhaps not as good looking after yourself. And just taking time to take all that wisdom from all the aspects of your life and look at how it might be if you were to apply it to yourself can be so incredibly impacting. And then please don't forget how possible whatever it is that you're looking for can be. If we only just apply ourselves, we give ourselves a hell of a chance to turn our circumstances around. And time again, and I think it's so important for me to just highlight this and fill you with examples, time and time again, when people do take back their energy and when people do start really prioritizing themselves, it is shocking how quickly circumstances change and how much opportunity there is for that in your life. So whatever you might be going through, whatever might be coming up, know that you can turn things around and enjoy that. Have fun trialing and experimenting, seeing what works, what sometimes doesn't. But oftentimes we learn a hell of a lot from those times too. But little by little, enjoy the journey of reorientating yourselves, of reprioritizing yourselves, and living life more on your terms. I wholeheartedly wish that for you. So I hope for wherever you are, this video brings you value. If there's anything you'd add, please do leave it in the comments below. And if you want to get in touch, please don't hesitate. The best platform for me is always Instagram. And likewise, if there's any videos that you're like, look here, I'd really appreciate your perspective on this. I am, so open and so interested in hearing anything you might wish. But for now, I'll just thank you so much for watching. Wish you really, really well and look forward to sharing with you again soon.